Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends, a quick look at the top 10 prospects in the NBA draft. The NBA playoff schedule is finalizing, and will somebody please tell me who the real MVP is, and more, starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to Debate Amongst Friends, live on YouTube. This is the 99th, yes, you heard it right, 99 episodes, and a pissant ain't one. Today is April 11, 2018. We're so glad you decided to join us on this Wednesday evening. I am the Professor John Gotti, and the Shinsuke Nakamura to my AJ Styles. With me tonight, it's Doc Ocean. How you doing tonight, sir?
I was okay until I turned on you, I guess.
I mean, sometimes, you just have to respect the guy. Other times, you just gotta hit him in the balls.
That's
Twice.
terrible.
3 times if you count last night, because he's just too much of a pissant.
That's so unbelievable, though. I mean, I really hope that there's a show with that tomorrow.
I
But
mean, I heard there was a show about it,
wow,
but
that's all I can really say.
those
Wow.
are that's more of talks of legends there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, wow, WrestleMania this past weekend. I hope there's a show for it tomorrow. That's all I
Probably
can
not.
really say.
That's fine. It is what it is. Just like we appreciate everyone who decides just to at least click or at least view the links, we're just gonna appreciate the person who decides to not do their show tomorrow.
Wow, unbelievable, sir. But I understand. I understand completely. But I mean, we got a little show tonight. Some NBA. I do know that, the NFL is shaping up to be nice. It's going to be a great season. Some great moves. I know we've talked about that in the previous shows. But this show really dedicated more towards the basketball court, the hardwood. And we're going to start with some college prospects that are coming out right now as it stands today. We got some interesting prospects coming out of college basketball.
I mean, I know you're definitely excited to talk about that first person. That first person who just so happens to be rocking the blue and happens to be part of the Devil Crew. I'm going to leave it all up to you, sir. Who is that very first number one prospect heading into the NBA draft this year?
So, of course, this is biased, of course, because I'm a Duke fan. But I think in this particular situation, they have it as Marvin Bagley, who I think is a great player. I think any team would be lucky to have him. I think he's represents that new basketball player that we talked about in the past. And I think that he's going to be a good fit in any team. I believe at this point, Phoenix has the highest chance of getting the number one pick. But of
Now, we
course,
all know it's not going to be Phoenix. We all know who's going to get the number one pick. Okay? It's just as obvious as a certain big dog
ooh,
that this particular team always ends up being in the spotlight.
well, and this is going to sound funny, but tankathon.com, which is hilarious by itself, Tankathon, does have Phoenix with the number one overall pick. And that Brooklyn Nets pick, I imagine you're talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers, the LeBron Cavaliers.
Of course.
They actually wound up with the ninth pick, according to Tankathon.
Just like how they call Madison Square Garden the Mecca of basketball, Cleveland is the Mecca of the Roman Knights.
Mm. You're just batting 1,000 right now. Just batting 1,000.
But am I wrong?
Absolutely not. I agree with you. I think I don't know. It's hard because we had a big debate over the last couple of days about Roman, and I think I even compared him to LeBron as someone you just can't argue about.
Yeah.
It's tough to argue with someone who doesn't think with real logic.
I mean, I tend to have a bad time watching Undisputed. Shout out to Undisputed. Make sure you catch their shows. And watching Skip Bayless and LaShannon Sharp argue because the way that Shannon defend LeBron, it's exactly what you deal with when talking to any other bronies,
Uh-oh.
any other Bron sexuals, LeBron maniacs, however you want to call them. But it's
I
different names for the same group of people.
I agree. I think they all think exactly the same. That no one else is better. It is very interesting to say the least. But let's not get caught into that trap. It's definitely a trap.
It's a
Uh,
trap.
so looking at CBS, I know we looked at CBS Sports for both the list as well as the mock draft, and
Hmm.
it's interesting because in one mock draft they do have Marvin Bagley going first. Obviously, Marvin Bagley had a great season for the Dukies this year. He averaged a great points per game. He had a lot of blocks.
Hmm.
Um, and really, I think he set a record really for double doubles this year. He had a great season.
I
The one
believe
thing I will,
he did average double double throughout the season.
I mean, it was a good season. I mean, he missed those couple of games because of the eye. Um, but I think he turned out to be pretty good.
Well, I could understand that. I can definitely see that.
Yeah, he averaged, which is so weird because I'm looking at the stats and it's like I'm so used to seeing, you know, 20.8 or 21.6, but he actually averaged 21 points a game,
Yep.
um, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
And
he averaged a double double.
yeah, and 11 points, 11 rebounds, excuse me, per game for the season, which is great. So in the mock draft previously done by CBS Sports, and I just pulled it up, has the same points. I think he did average 20.7, but CBS just rounded it up apparently. Um, he's going number one to the Memphis Grizzlies. What do you think about that fit with
I
Mike Conley?
mean, that could be really good for a Grizzlies team that is still trying to identify what they want to be. Because they lost their identity.
They did.
They
They did.
completely lost their identity. They had a very old school flair to it, playing in a new school world, and it hurt them.
True.
Zach Randolph is now in Sacramento. Marc Gasol is, going towards the tail end of his career,
He
unless he
is.
finds a rejuvenation with a different team, but we don't know.
Or he finds a rejuvenation with Marvin Bagley on the court.
And that could be it, but we can also yes and no. So on one hand, yes, it's possible that he can rejuvenate his career with Marvin Bagley, and they can take the entire West by storm. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
mean Jack Storm.
Ooh.
However, it could also be detrimental to Marvin Bagley's development because they could just do the same old things with different chess pieces.
Well, I think with Marvin Bagley, it might be a little different, and of course, Marvin is so good at stretching the floor, as is Gasol. I think with the two of them, it it's going to be interesting to see them actually piece them together because they both have that ability to stretch the floor, but they both are good on the block.
Hmm.
Of course, Bagley, who's going to come in similar to a Brandon Ingram, he's going to have to put some weight on.
He's
And
234.
he's got to put some, he might have to put just, I would say, when I say weight, I would say maybe 10 pounds of legit muscle.
And who would you
Uh,
compare him to?
Brandon Ingram.
Oh, Brandon Ingram. I thought Brandon Ingram was like under 200 when he came into the league, I believe.
See, I had a debate with someone about that, and they were saying that he was over 200. I still think he's pretty slim. I know he's probably over 200 now, of course, with
He's
what Google
190
probably
right
has.
now.
So I had a conversation with people. They're saying that he was at 190 when he came out of college. I didn't believe it. I really think that he should be playing probably around maybe 205, and I don't mean live.
When he came into the league, he
Hmm.
was 190.
So they're saying that he didn't gain a pound.
No.
He stayed 190 for the whole time he's
I mean,
been
he
here.
basically has my problem. Possibly.
Possibly.
I mean, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but
That's if you really have a problem. You might not really have a problem.
yeah, I'm like, wait, whoever thought he was over 200 we got drafted, you need to send some to Chris because that's some good stuff that you're smoking.
That's a good one.
Like he was under 200 because that was a big issue. He is
It
not.
is.
He is not over 200 right now.
I think if he was to take his game to 205, I think he would really be good. But I mean, in regards to Marvin Bagley, I think if he takes his game to maybe 245, I think that'll help him out tremendously.
Absolutely.
But that's of course if he goes to the Grizzlies. Obviously, the Suns or the Hawks could get that number one pick, or your favorite, the Cleveland Cavaliers,
Yeah, still really not
um,
my favorite, but I see what you're trying to do there.
who do have the number four pick in this particular mock draft that I'm looking at. But let's look at the number two. I think the number two in this situation always interesting. I always kind of have a. I mean, we'd have to go back a couple years, I guess. I always have a not an issue, but just a little bit of a hesitation when it comes to international players. Number one, you don't really know if they're going to come over immediately. Number two, you don't know
Especially now.
how. Yeah, you don't know how they're going to translate into, this culture that you're in. And number three, I mean, if he's the number two pick, and let's just say, I don't know, the Phoenix Suns are the number two pick. I mean, do they really need a guard?
I mean, it never hurts to have enough guards because it basically is a guards-oriented league. If you really want to be honest.
I mean, but Devin Booker can run the one or the two. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, but I mean, look at this scenario. It makes the Suns look more dangerous if Devin Booker is playing the off-guard position.
True. That's true.
We're talking about taking a premier scorer in the league, a young gun, so to speak,
Hmm. Well,
and
one on the
not making
Rockets,
him be the main distributor of the ball. That's insane.
who, Devin Booker's listening. If you feel like you want to sign with the Rockets, I
Oh
can work a
my,
discount out for you.
oh my gosh, Devin, if you're listening, don't do that. Do you be happy wherever you want to play at? I mean, would I be happy if he comes to the Knicks? Absolutely. What Knicks fan wouldn't want, someone with the kind of swagger, and I don't mean swaggy P.
Or Jack Swagger.
I see what you did there. To back up what you're talking about. But at the end of the day, I mean, I root for the kid. I hope he does well. Whether it's staying with the Suns, which I don't think he's long for that world anymore, or
Right.
he found himself with a contender. Hopefully, it's not the Warriors or the Cavaliers.
And I didn't even say the player's name, but it's Luka Doncic.
Yep, don't check.
Doncic. 19 years old. Obviously, he has some game. His points have been increasing over the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I see that his minutes have increased. This past year, 25 minutes a game, pretty much 14. 14, 4, and 5. So you need somebody that's going to get some rebounds for you. He's going to throw some assists, and he's going to be able to, score some baskets. Shoots 30% from three. That's been pretty consistent. About 30, between 30 to 35. I would say, I guess he averages 33%.
Yep.
I think. I think he would be pretty good for the Suns or whoever picks at number two, if this is the way it stands, of course.
Of course.
Um, but with the previous draft that CBS had, they did have the Suns picking the number three pick in this new mock draft. Who his stock has fallen a little bit because he was actually number one for a very long time, and
Mm-hmm.
that's DeAndre Ayton from Arizona, the freshman center. Now with him, I know that he's a rim protector. Averages 2 blocks per game, almost 12 rebounds per game, 20 points per game, has a 61% field goal percentage. I mean, he's somebody that probably is a good rebounder and good putback person. But a team like the Cavs, like the Suns, who are still holding on to the legs of Tyson Chandler for some reason. Um,
Wow.
they need someone who, can stretch it out. He does space it out a little bit. He has some ability. Um, and we talked about this last week with these new prospects and how they're all going to be able to shoot the three. I don't think he can shoot the three,
I mean,
but
he's a 34% 3-point shooter.
he is. But we're talking about
Th-
12 for 35.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
so I mean, he doesn't
people are
take a
looking at
lot,
the
but
percentages. They're not looking at the attempts and the makes.
yeah, he got. That's why for that one, I skipped right past that one
Ah,
because I knew that they shouldn't look into that. That's why I looked more into the field goal percentage because even if he's doing a whole bunch of post moves, 61% is fantastic.
yes.
But yeah, I mean, so as it's slated here, the Hawks, who do need a big man, I mean, they let Dwight walk. They lost Millsap. They lost really all their bigs over the last 3 to 4 years. They have some guys that are there, um, but I think Aiton could be a great fit there. In this particular mock draft, they do have Luka Doncic going there, I guess, to play with Schroeder, who I don't know if the Hawks are giving up on yet or not, because it seems like every other year they give up on someone. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Um. Well, they're not giving up on Schroeder anytime soon, especially after they let what's his name go.
Oh, Teague.
Yep.
Because I know in 2K, of course, I know this is not a game, but I know I gave up on Schroeder immediately. I'm not gonna lie to you, my team's better for it. Um, so I don't know. I gave up that little streak to get some cap relief. Um, the irony. What team do you think I traded him to?
The Cavs.
I traded him to the Houston Rockets to
Of
back
course
up
you
Chris
did.
Paul.
Of course you did.
They actually didn't do too. They actually didn't go very far. Actually, it's pretty interesting. That 2K year, the 76ers actually won the championship. And that would be this year. So technically, the 76ers won the championship.
I mean,
But
that's a lot of 2K simulators are showing that too. That the
I mean,
76ers have a resurgence during the playoffs because they are one of the top. We'll talk about that when we get to the playoffs.
absolutely. And I mean, they have the ability. But let's carry on. Let's carry on. I guess next on this list here is
Michael Porter
Michael
Jr.
Porter Jr., who just recently declared.
Yes.
Um, small forward, 6'10", 215. I think a lot of these guys are, slim. They're bound and built for running up and down the court.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and He's another one. He's gonna play a good game. Interesting numbers. I'm not sure if CBS just got lazy and didn't load it all. I don't think he didn't get hurt this year, did he?
Yeah, he got hurt this year.
He got hurt this year. Okay. So I mean, the numbers that go on, I mean, not really great. So we would have to just take their word for it. But and I don't even know why he left college, but he must have showed enough with the what's this 40 shots that he took. No, no,
Hmm.
hold on. Let's see. It's a 40. Let's see, three pointers. Yeah, he took 40 shots. So I don't know. Hopefully that was enough to show someone that he's good. But in this mock
The
draft,
hype was there. Dot dot dot, bro.
I mean, 40 shots. I don't know. I mean, I guess. In that situation, I just think about whether you should stay or go. And I know we talked about the D League, G League, and
Yeah.
expanding it to high school players.
Hmm.
But in this situation, a guy who played 3 games, I mean, would he have even shown enough at that point to even say, "Hey, I'm going to be a top 5 pick"? Not guaranteed,
Well,
but his
no, but that's where the combine comes into play.
and that's what I was going to say next. His workout has to be fantastic if he's healthy enough to go into that workout, of course.
Hmm.
Of course, in this before, and this is of course from last month, CBS had the number 4 pick going to the Cavs, and it was for Mo Bamba. But if the Cavs do happen to fall here and they take Michael Porter Jr., who can play the three,
He could potentially be the replacement for LeBron James.
he'll be replaced.
He will be the ultimate insurance policy.
Which technically they could have just kept Wiggins and not traded for Kevin Love, but you know,
I mean, they got one title in 3 years. I mean, apparently to the Cavs, mediocrity is golden.
I think if they would have kept Wiggins, they would have won too.
I feel like that is a completely true statement.
Yeah, they would have kept Wiggins and LeBron. I think with Kyrie, oh, just forget it.
I
Just,
mean,
just
they didn't think that far ahead, sir.
yeah, like just forget it. And of course, they wouldn't have known he was going to
No.
be good. That's neither here
Well,
nor there.
I mean, first of all, if you give him free reins to do what he needs to do, you know,
True,
and let the guy play. I mean, you hear me say it all the time. Let the boys play. Let him play and see what he got. And if he didn't show any potential by the end of the first half of the season, then trade him. You can still get
true.
Kevin Love.
That's true. That is true. But as it stands, I mean, the Cavs, if they fall at number 4, they would have someone like Michael Porter Jr. Mo Bamba, actually, in this mock draft that we're looking at, is number 5.
Hmm.
Um, who, Mo Bamba is one of those, another rim protector.
Yep.
He's somebody,
I mean, and
6'11.
Texas come out, bring out a lot of rim protectors.
That's true. I mean, you look at the kid from Indiana, he's been coming along.
Yep.
I don't know if he's at the height of his game just yet,
I think
but
he's
he's
there.
been he's playing pretty well. But a little bit on Mo Bamba again, 14 for 51 from the 3 point line, 27%. I don't know if that's something that he's going to continue to work on, but opposed to DeAndre Ayton, Mo Bamba is only scoring 54% from the field. Um, which is a little drop off here. 12 or almost 13 points, 10 rebounds, and he gets almost 4 blocks per game. So when we talk about rim protector, that's really his thing.
Yep.
That's his game
Well, and that's his game in college.
in college. Well, I mean, let's look at it. I mean, when you're a shot blocker, I feel like when you come to the NBA, I feel like you still have the potential to be a good shot blocker. Obviously, guys are going to be trying to score more creatively in the NBA.
Kyrie, Russell Westbrook's gonna try
Absolutely.
to posterize him.
Yes. He is going to posterize him most likely. There is no try. He will probably get posterized before his rookie year is up. Write that down. I said that. So
You do know that
in
they're probably both listening to the show right now, and they're gonna probably take out Russell Westbrook's knee
oh goodness. I
just to
mean,
spite you now.
that's a stat that will need to be padded.
Hilarious.
So in this previous mock draft, the Kings were selecting fifth. They were actually taking Michael Porter Jr. And in this particular situation, they were even saying that Porter had back surgery in November that robbed him of most of his first and last college basketball season. But with Bamba, I think, because he has that 7'9" wingspan, I think that he's going to be someone that could help a franchise grow. And if that just so happens to be the Kings, who kind of already have, some interesting pieces, I don't know why they would be in the running for a Bamba, but I could definitely see them going after Porter or potentially one of our other picks in the latter half of the top 10,
Mm-hmm.
because they have some good pieces there. They definitely are not taking a point guard in the first round. We know
Nope,
that for
they're not.
sure.
Nope.
You know, I think who they
I
have
mean,
there is
they'll
good.
definitely either take a two guard or a three.
And I'm kind of torn on the two because I feel like Buddy Hield just needs some more time.
I feel like Buddy Hield is still recovering from his Final Four debauchery.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
he got shut out,
that was really
and
terrible.
I was
He sh-
there to watch that.
I remember you were there. You were there. It doesn't seem like that long ago, but you were definitely there. Actually it does seems a lot longer than anything. But
That's
I mean,
3 years ago.
yeah, it seems a lot. Seems like it was like 5 or 6 years ago, but it wasn't. But yeah, if the Kings took a three in this situation and it's Michael Porter Jr., I could understand that. They have some interesting bigs there who
Mm-hmm.
can play. Um, I think Porter would be a good fit there. I'm sure they probably wish they could have taken Tatum along with the point guard they drafted if they could have signed or and drafted and traded back into the first round. But hey, it is what
I
it
mean,
is.
I could see the Kings getting Miles Bridges out of Michigan State.
That's true too, and that's what I was saying. Somebody like
I mean,
Bridges
we're talking about a three guard three guard, a three
or
that can.
two.
I think they have him as a three.
They have him as a three.
Yeah,
Yes.
but he's also a two. So he's basically a flex.
Yeah, he's 6'7". He can play 2-3. Yeah.
Yeah. So someone who can put the ball in the hoop, average about 17 points a game. Um, 37% college career 3-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, shot 36.5 last year, which is still pretty good. His team made it
Yeah.
to the dance. He was able to show out a little bit. Unfortunately, they didn't make it too far, but they definitely had a decent run compared to a lot of other teams.
True. I
Jacob.
mean, but oh wow, wow. But actually, I was gonna say, I think if I was looking at the Kings and I was gonna slot them with someone, I was gonna say Kevin Knox, who's also on this top 10 from Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
6'9", 215. I think that he has the ability to put the ball up for three, but he also has an opportunity and a great knack for just scoring the basketball from the perimeter. So I think those two players would be great. Right now, of course, Knox slated at 8, Bridges at 10. But if the Kings, kind of move around any kind of way, then I think that honestly, I think that they can use one of those players.
Yeah. I mean, when was the last time we saw a top 10 pick get traded during the draft? Not after the selection was made,
Yeah.
before selections were made. I think it's been a while.
Honestly,
I think it's been a while.
I think it to me, of course, I only think about the one that caused me pain.
The one with
And
Lamarcus Aldridge.
no, and I don't even want to think about that because that's that. that doesn't really cause me a lot of pain, but
It caused you
um,
some
I
pain though.
I always go back to the Rudy Gay trade. Um, Although I loved Shane Battier, I think if we would have just drafted Rudy Gay, I think we would have been okay for these last 10 years. That's just my opinion, of course.
I mean, and he's helping the Spurs,
Right.
make a decent run heading towards the playoffs right now.
Let's think about it. We would have had Rudy Gay on our team this whole time, through insanity, through when Harden first got here. You know, we might not have, you know, I just drew a blank. Trevor Ariza,
Yep.
but I mean, I think Rudy Gay is versatile enough to play. And honestly, I didn't think we should have got rid of Trevor Ariza the first time we did either. But he had to go get that championship ring and go get the experience. So I guess it was all worth it. Now we're not trading him at all.
Nope.
But anywho,
I mean, we can go straight to the playoffs now. I mean, we pretty much talked about most of those top 10. The other one that we really didn't talk about was Jaron
Jaron
Jackson,
Jackson,
Colin Sexton, and Lonnie Walker to four.
which I think those three, and it's interesting because I I don't see Trey Young in the top 10, and that is so interesting. His decline is so crazy. He's actually declined to 20th on this list, right next to Grayson Allen, who's tripping. Just
I mean,
kidding, of
Grayson
course.
Allen could be a Nick.
He could be a Nick. Honestly, I know they have Wendell Carter Jr. on here at number 14, but I know he's not. He hasn't declared just yet, so
Nope.
we'll see what happens. But you're right. We could definitely go to the playoffs. I think that as we continue to watch the prospects go, wait till they go through their, potential workouts, the combine. It's going to be interesting. Who
Hmm.
I'm interested in seeing draft is where the 76ers pick as we continue the process.
I see what you did there. Do they even have any picks this year?
They do. They have a lottery pick apparently.
Oh yes, one of the trades. You're right.
hmm And this last one, they were picking number 10 and took Bridges from. Actually, they took Mikal Bridges from Villanova.
Yes.
But this is going to be ridiculous. I mean,
I
there's so much talent.
mean, Stephen A. Smith hates us saying it, but trust the process.
There's so much talent in this draft, that if a team can't build with these players, you just need to get rid of your general manager and scouting team.
I
There's
see
a
what
lot
you
of
mean.
players,
I see
and
what you
I'm not
mean.
even talking. I'm not even talking about international. I only see that one international player, um, but they got to be able to get it done. But yeah, let's get on to some playoffs.
Yeah,
Don't talk about.
we have a lot of action happening. Some of them are actually happening right now, but with playoff implications, I'm gonna go through this list
hmm
and why these games matter to the team. So first of all, it's my New York Knicks going up against the LeBron maniac. I mean, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Uh-oh.
The Cavs need this win and Philly to lose to the Bucks tonight to get the number three seed in the Eastern Conference.
Now, why is that important to them? Is it so that
They can have home court,
home court?
so they do not have to play a game seven away. They can play it at the Q.
Well, they're gonna try to kill the Knicks, of course. Hopefully, the Knicks don't allow it, but they're gonna
I
try to destroy them.
mean, my Knicks have been playing some inspiring basketball. I mean,
I had high hopes for the Knicks this year too.
it wasn't. I usually, after a really good rookie season, like I tend to not get as hype about the second season because stuff always happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually like year three, year four is when I'm really back into the fray of things. But I mean, that guard that we picked up, holy crap, we better keep him. And we talked about him last week.
We did, but we also, talked about the veteran guard,
Hmm.
uh, who plays well. I think the rookie. I think his only issue was that he got hurt. I don't think he played bad. I just think he got hurt earlier in the year, and he had to just kind of make his way back. But I think Trey Burke came in and
Well, and
played
that's what I'm
very,
talking
very
about. I'm
well.
talking about Trey Burke.
Well, Trey Burke's not a rookie.
No, no, no. I said the guard that we picked up.
Ah,
I didn't
I
say
thought you said
rookie.
the rookie that we
No, no,
picked
no,
up.
no, 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 no. I know who the rookie is, Frank Nicolau. Yeah.
I thought you said the guy you picked up years ago.
No.
I would say, even though the rookie's not playing terrible. I mean, he's getting
No.
21 minutes a game. I mean, almost 6 points a game. I mean, everything really.
I mean, he's
I don't know
finding
who.
his stroke. It's gonna take a year or two. He's going from one extreme to another extreme as far as like play styles. We might not have Hornets next year, although he talked about wanting to stay at New York Knicks as the Knicks coach next year. But I mean,
Yes.
Knicks Nation, we're kind of tired of it. We want to change. We want to start gearing towards making a push for a championship, and I don't blame them.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing, just looking at it, just looks like I see it. I just see a lot of guards on the team, and
And that's why I'm like they're gonna make some kind of splash during the offseason.
yeah. I mean, just so you said if the Cavs win, and what if the Cavs win and the Sixers win? So then
Uh,
they just wouldn't
the
get.
Sixers still keep the 3 seed.
Got it. Hmm. That should be interesting. What any other playoff implications?
Absolutely. Continuing down the list, the Raptors, the Toronto Raptors, uh,
Mm-hmm.
is facing Miami at Miami. The Heat win. They will not be the number 8 seed since they own the tiebreaker over the Bucks. They'll get the number 6 seed with the victory, which is in combination of the Milwaukee loss to the Sixers. So
Got it.
the Sixers beat Milwaukee, and the Heat win. The Heat gets the number 6 seed.
Got it.
The Miami will drop to number 7 with a loss, and the Wizards lost to Miami, but will become a number 8 seed with a loss and a Washington victory. So they really need Lady Luck on their side in South Beach.
Yeah. So, see, if I'm the Cavs, I want that home feed. I want that home court. But so if Philadelphia loses, the Cavs would move up to number 3.
Yes. Well, the Cavs also needs to win.
Right. And they would go against Milwaukee.
I mean, don't count my Knicks out yet, man.
No, that's not. That's what I'm saying.
Jeez.
I didn't say win. You said win. I'm just
I
saying if
said
they
they
move
have
up.
to win. You
Hey,
make it
I
sound like
didn't.
it's just the Sixers had to lose. Like
I
it's a
mean, it's just.
guarantee that the Cavs are gonna spank my Knicks.
I mean, maybe.
Live TV. Moving on. I mean, right now, I mean, I'll give everyone a score break right now. As of right now, 8:34 left in the third quarter.
The
The
Knicks are
Knicks
up.
are up by 10 points against the
Yes.
Cavaliers. Uh,
Again, and
Philadelphia is
that's
spanking, and we're talking spanking the Milwaukee Bucks, who are continually to be the biggest disappointment for us this year.
well. And again, I wasn't trying to say that the Knicks are going to lose. I was really more talking about the
See, now
Cavs.
I hope my Knicks beat the Cavaliers by 20. That's what
Well,
I want. I want them to beat them by 20. I want them to rub it inside King James' face with New York bagels and taxi
uh,
cabs all up in his grill. That's what I
well,
want. Make it happen,
see,
Knicks.
this is what I was saying though. I mean, I'm just saying that they might want to lose for the matchup versus Indiana versus going up against Milwaukee.
Well, I'll continue on with the rest of the playoff implications because
Please.
other stuff is gonna happen.
Of course. So if Milwaukee loses, let's go back to Milwaukee losing.
I'll get to that one. Let me go to the next game
Okay.
first
Okay.
because they're afterwards. So
Okay.
the Wizards are facing the Magic right now, which currently, what's the score? Currently, the Magic is up 57-49 with 8:08 left in the third quarter.
Wait.
Even with the win, the only way the Wizards to get out the 8th seed is if the Raptors also beat the Heat or the Sixers also beat the Bucks. The Wizards will actually climb up to the 6th seed with the win and losses by both Miami and Milwaukee. So right now, Wizards fans are rooting on the 76ers and the Raptors to lay up the smack of down.
This is true.
Which right now, I mean, Philly's doing their job and Miami's kind of hanging in there down by 9.
I think it's all going to go down to the wire.
Oh, absolutely, and that's what I love. Well, I think tonight, nope, tomorrow would be the declarative um, seed clutching scenarios, unless like some of these extremes happen. All right, so the Bucks. The Bucks face off against the 76ers, as I mentioned before. If the Sixers win, they get the number 3 seed. Milwaukee's situation is way more complicated. That's why I was like, we'll wait until we get over.
Okay.
So the Bucks might want to finish 7th, meaning they get the injury-depleted Celtics in the first round. That's like the magic number, and that's I'm gonna come up with a gaudy prediction in a second about who really wants to face off against the Celtics now.
Mm-hmm.
That can't happen if they win, but they're getting spanked, so they're not gonna win this game. Uh, confirming their spot at number 6, keeping their pick, which heads to Phoenix if it lands between 11 to 16. But that's talking about drafts, but we're not talking about drafts right now. So even if the Bucks lose, which they will now,
Mm-hmm.
losses by the Heat and the Wizards would keep Milwaukee at the number 6 seed anyway. Plus, a loss combined with the Miami and Washington win dropped the Bucks to number 8. So right now the Bucks are still good
At number 6.
within the playoffs. Period.
Of course.
Based
I
off
mean, I
the
guess.
different scenarios. Right now, based off the different
Um,
scenarios. But
so.
if you're an Eastern Conference team and you don't, I mean, and I'm not going to say that the Celtics are going to be pushovers, but the Celtics aren't who they looked like,
Of course.
at All-Star break and even, a few weeks after All-Star break. So anyone and everyone wants to play against the Celtics in the first round.
True.
And apparently, Michelle Steele, who is an ESPN reporter, just put up something saying that Philadelphia right now is on pace to score 184 points tonight.
Oh my God.
There's no defense being played by the Milwaukee Bucks. Really? I mean, is Jason Kidd still the coach over there?
Wow. I mean, maybe. I mean, we don't know. They could be resting players. They could. We just don't even know.
I know that was more of a jab.
Yeah, it's a big jab.
That
It's
turned
a big
into
jab.
that turned into a hook. All right, so other
Actually, sounded
teams
like a
in playoff.
Superman punch.
Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna move on now before I throw it. So, in the West, we have a Western Conference matchup. The Denver Nuggets is faced off against the Timberwolves in Minnesota. The
Mm-hmm.
winner gets the last playoff spot in the West and probably slides into the number 7 seed to face the Warriors. However, both teams can finish as high as number 6 with a win, and number 8 is in play for Minnesota if the Pelicans and the
Yes.
Thunder win.
Pelicans are the Thunder.
Even if Minnesota wins, they owe they own the Hawks they owe the Hawks a lottery protected first round pick. So they will keep that first rounder this year by missing the playoffs and will lose it by making the postseason. So
That's
depending
tough.
on what they want to do, they can either keep their lottery pick, which we just talked about, it's pretty loaded,
It is.
or they could be out of the lottery completely.
And this is Minnesota.
This is Minnesota. That's
So lose
their destiny.
lose and keep your pick, win and go to the playoffs.
Yep.
Mm.
And the way that they're playing right now, I mean, I would rather they gear up for the draft, but I mean they're up by 1 point, 3:35 left in the third quarter on NBA TV. No, they're not paying us, but make sure you sign a check over to Scott.
That's right.
So another scenario, another team that's playing tonight, the San Antonio Spurs is at the Big Easy, the location of WrestleMania this past Sunday.
Mm.
Faced off against the Pelicans, in which the Pelicans are up 79-64, 2:59 left in the third quarter. The Spurs most likely matchup in the postseason first round is the Blazers,
Right.
either as a 3-6 or a 4-5 matchup, depending on what happens in Portland on tonight. Um, of course, San Antonio can draw either Golden State or Houston with a loss, and the Jazz series is still in play. So, somehow, some way, if the Jazz end up still clinching that 8 seed, they can still face off against the Spurs. The Pelicans'
Mm.
most likely first round opponent is also the Blazers.
Yep.
To make things simpler, the winner probably gets Portland. And assuming OKC beats Memphis tonight, which as of right now, I don't know if they're playing right now. Let me see.
Um.
Yes, they will win this. Potentially win this game. They're up 94-77, 3:55 left in the third quarter.
Yeah,
So it's still in play.
that is in play, but it looks like OKC is going to run away with that one.
Yes. San Antonio's loss means the Spurs and Warriors in the first round, while New Orleans' loss means the Rockets versus the Pelicans. So the Pelicans could be your Rockets first round.
I would be okay with that.
I think you're just happy that the Clippers are out of the playoffs.
That's right. I mean, I would be okay with playing. Well, I don't want to play Minnesota. I'd rather somebody else play Minnesota. I don't want to play San Antonio again because they're kind of weird. They play weird. Um, I would take the Pelicans. I mean, Minnesota or Denver. I think we've gotten the best of them.
I mean,
Um,
and,
I'm
and
good with it.
people and people will laugh, and they'll probably laugh when I say this, but watch out for Rajon Rondo
Yes, absolutely,
because he tends to step it up when it comes to playoff basketball. Despite all the
absolutely.
divaness and stuff, he is still a lethal guard in the playoffs.
Agreed.
Don't get it twisted, ladies and gentlemen.
Agreed.
So, other games, we talked about the OKC Thunder hosting the Memphis Grizzlies, which right now is looking like a SmackDown hotel. Ba-da-da-dum.
Hilarious.
So, the basketball power index projects that the Thunder and Jazz series is 85.66, repeating, of course, percent likely. A lot of that has to do with OKC being the heavy favorite here. A win plus a Jazz loss puts the Thunder at the number 4 seed. A win plus a Jazz win drops OKC to number 6. And a loss drops them all the way down to number 8.
Who's that?
So,
OKC.
yep. So Q Mark
Mm.
could get his wish, in which the Thunder could be a 6 to 8 seed. And
Mm.
hopefully we can have him on next week as the playoffs is getting started to get his take
True.
on all the different games.
That would be sweet. I mean, it sounds interesting. I mean, it's gonna come down to really the wire.
But that's what we love. This is my favorite part of the NBA season.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just happy that the number one team just happens to be my Rockets, and hopefully we can actually play well in the playoffs.
I mean,
They worry me.
Stephen A. Smith kind of threw some shade at your team today,
He always throws shade. He always throws shade. What's new?
saying that James Harden has a history of disappearing in the playoffs, and it's going to happen again this year. The only saving grace is CP3, but Even he has a shiny playoff. I mean, you should probably start tweeting Stephen A. Smith on Twitter.
You know, a wise person once told me that if I give in and watch somebody, that if I show them any hate, I'm only hating them, and they're the reason that keeps me watching. I know that doesn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense the first time I heard it, and it doesn't make any sense after repeating it. But as I'm not gonna watch the big dog Roman Reigns, I shall not watch Stephen A. Smith.
I can understand that. So let's get through the nightcap games real quick.
Okay.
Utah is traveling out to Portland to face off against the Trailblazers.
Mm-hmm.
The winner gets the number 3 seed. Blank.
Blank.
The Blazers are probably the number 4 seed with a loss, while the Jazz are probably a number 5 seed.
Mm.
So depending on what happens in the earlier games, we could look at two top five seeds right here.
Mm. It's gonna get interesting.
So we won't know what's going to happen until the first set of games conclude. But looking forward to that. So as of right now, here are the seedings. And, well, here are the matchups. We have the Rockets against the Pelicans. You said that you're completely okay with that kind of scenario. I actually
Mm-hmm.
agree, but, still the danger between AD and Rajon Rondo definitely making some noise.
Mm-mm.
Then we have the Warriors against the T-Wolves, which can be a very engaging series. It could probably be 6, 7 games,
Yeah.
maybe. The
Depends
Warriors
on the
haven't been
Warriors.
looking, but
Mm.
I mean,
They got spanked
there's been
yesterday.
some reports that the Warriors are just bored. But
Mm.
if it's that, then I put that all on the coach though. It's
True.
his job to get them motivated to light that fire. You didn't start the fire
Mm.
underneath them to basically kill all over their opponents.
Wow.
Like, you don't want to lip it to the playoffs by losing. We make that same analogy with the NFL playoffs. You don't want to lip it to the playoffs losing.
True. That's why I don't
Uh,
want us to do the same thing. Yeah.
the 3-6 matchup right now would be the Blazers versus the Spurs. Right now, not as of the end of the games. By the way, the
Mm-hmm.
Knicks are up 79-64.
Yeah, I don't know. People might be. I mean, no disrespect, of course, but people might be resting the players because you're in the playoffs. I mean, seeding
No,
is
LeBron is playing
great.
tonight.
I mean, seeding is good, but I don't
No,
know. I
I
mean,
mean the only thing that, and let me get the Gotti thought out the way before I continue with the rest of this. Let me tell you Gotti's thoughts, and I had the reads last year. People
hmm
laughed at me. They called me names on Twitter, but then when it happened, everyone said you were a genius. I don't know why I doubted you. Here's what I
well,
think is going to happen with those Cleveland Cavaliers. They're going to try to find some way to tank to end up facing off against the injury depleted Boston Celtics.
mm,
Here's why. If they was to play any other team other than a team riddled with injuries, they're going to get challenges. LeBron James this year has played all 82 games. The first
true.
time, I believe, since his rookie year that he ever played all 82 games. Trust me, Shannon Sharp made sure to emphasize the fact that he did it twice versus
hmm
Michael Jordan's 9 times.
Mm,
No, he was trying to defend LeBron, but it wasn't really helping. But that's
it
besides the
didn't. Yeah.
point. But that's what I think is going to happen. I don't know if you think I'm crazy, but the scenario is showing that they could drop. And that's the most likely, that's the best possible scenario for the LeBron maniac ridden Cavaliers. The
Drop to what?
pissant driven, the astained and malarkey filled Cleveland Cavaliers.
You said they can drop. What do you think? So all right. So as it stands now,
Hmm.
they're the fourth seed. They're the fourth seed.
Yes, they could drop all the way down.
To what?
So right now, if they lose tonight,
They just dropped to five, don't they? Or
they could drop to a six seed.
no? How are they gonna do that?
I think they dropped to a six seed. I think so. But like we could talk about that. I'm gonna have Chris do some research on that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they're furthest. I don't. I think they're stuck at four because they have 50 wins. Indiana has 48, Milwaukee has 44, Miami 43, and Washington
How many
43.
games are left though?
It's only one game, I believe. I think this is it. Isn't this the end of the season? I don't think
Chris.
they can. Yeah, this is it. This is their last game because they're 50 and 31.
You're right. It is the last
Yeah,
game.
this is it. There's no dropping. This is
I
it.
thought certain teams still had one more game tomorrow.
No, this is it. Cleveland has this game and this game only.
I love it.
So they're
Yeah,
at
yeah.
four.
Today is the last day of the regular season. Boom.
They're at number
So their
four.
best,
There's no
so their
dropping.
best case scenario is they can go to five. You're right.
That's it. And I don't even think they can do that. I think
Nope.
they're stuck at
I
four.
mean, 84-71 in the third period. They can still come back and take it, but my Knicks, they gotta be like Kobe Bryant, and you gotta be hungry, LeBron, because my stomach's growling.
But it doesn't matter because, like you said, the 76ers are winning. So,
My stomach's growling.
wow. Wow. Any other playoff implications?
So right now, those are all the playoff implications. The other matchups, right as of right now, the 4-5 will be the Thunder against the Jazz. In the Eastern Conference, the 1-8 would be the Raptors versus the Wizards. 2-7 would be the Celtics versus the Heat. 3-6 would be the Sixers versus the Bucks, and the 4-5 would be the Cavaliers versus the Pacers.
Mm,
This would be the lowest seeding for LeBron James in quite a long time.
it will be. Can't deny that one.
I can't deny it. That LeBron's a pissant. Just like, just
Wow.
like, just like, just like, just like the big dog. Big dog.
Oh my God. Moving on. So the last topic of discussion are the NBA predictions for the top awards, the MVP, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, and others. Which did you want to start with the big dog, or did you want to work your way up from?
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
or did you want to work your way
Why did I
down
do
the
that?
line? I don't even know. I don't even know. Did you
I
want
mean,
to work your way down?
let's start with the rookie of the year because that was one of the most compelling ones that we talked about before the show. Because
Hmm.
each person has an argument.
So, I mean, I'm just looking at the top three. I think so. Let's go over the list here that ESPN has so graciously provided
Shout
us.
out to
So,
ESPN. Also, shout out to Bleacher Report. CBS Sports. You still need to get your get step your game up though.
definitely. So the list of people, you got Ben Simmons from the 76ers,
Most
Donovan
likely
Mitchell
there.
from the Jazz, Jason Tatum from the Celtics, Kyle Kuzma from the Lakers, and Laurie Markkinen from the Bulls, which I didn't even know the Bulls were doing anything good.
No,
But
but he's playing some crazy ball right now though.
well, it's probably because they traded what's his name? Remember that guy who kept taking all the threes that they shipped off? That got punched in the face the last time he manned up.
I can't
Sorry,
believe you said that.
I'm sorry. But that's why you get rid of that guy who couldn't. I don't think I ever saw him hit a three. I can't even think of his name. He never hit a three.
Oh my gosh.
But
Now I can't
I
think of
mean,
the name right now because it makes me laugh
yeah.
thinking about
I
that.
mean,
I'm also still thinking about the impromptu song I decided to sing.
wow. So all right, let's look at
But I mean,
the
Laurie
top
Markin's
three.
averaging 15, 7, and well, how many assists he's got right now? 1.2.
15, 7, and 1.2. Okay, 15, 7, and 1.2.
And he's getting half a block a game, which is still pretty good, and half a steal a game as well. That's not bad for a rookie.
So I think the rookie awards are running the same on the same plane as the MVP race, and we talked about that um, last week,
Hmm.
saying
Heck, last year.
true, saying what is the criteria. So those are good numbers for marketing, but
Hmm.
obviously he's on a losing Bulls team.
Who's getting spanked right now by the Wizards?
Clearly. But looking at it, Ben Simmons. Let's start with the favorite.
112 to 82. That's a spanking.
It is. Let's start with the favorite though. Ben Simmons,
Hmm.
almost 15.9 points a game, 8 assists, 8 rebounds
Hmm. I
per
mean, that's
game.
surprised he's not part of the MVP conversation. I mean, he's almost averaging a triple double, just like that stat padding bastard Russell Westbrook.
Wow. Who just was confirmed that he is again averaging a triple double.
Yeah.
But he's actually not in the top.
Oh, but he's supposed to be the MVP because he got a triple double. We've never seen it before, but he's doing it again this year, and no one's saying the same thing.
Again, the losses, I guess, and he has more
But
help. See,
that was
last
the
year,
issue
I
last
think,
year.
nah, see, I
What
think
seat was they last year?
last year he got the sympathy vote because he got left.
So we applaud and award mediocrity still because
I'm just telling you the facts, sir. I don't
no,
know
no, no.
about that. But,
No, and I get that, but that's the argument that I made last year, and that's the
I
argument
mean,
that Qmart made last year, and that's the argument that the Doc made last year, and the three of us
I,
been saying the same things, and people thought that we were hating on Russell Westbrook, as well as hating on LeBron James, which that by itself is a conundrum within itself. Let's not even go there,
can't go there.
but we're trying to say we need to take all the pieces in account. We need to take the individual contributions, which is the stat padding, conundrum of Russell Westbrook. We also need to take the team value, the team record, where they're placed, whether or not they're in the playoffs or not, because I think they were a 6 seed last year.
I believe so. No, they were at six because we were third, and we knocked them out of the playoffs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna
So
confirm this right now because I got Chris, our AV part timer, who's still waiting for his check. I mean, who's still yay! Good job, Chris.
so this is what I would say here. So I think him averaging a triple
Yes, you
double
are right.
this
It
year.
was it
Yeah.
was against your Rockets.
We definitely knocked him out. I remember that.
I was trying to see what seed were they.
I believe it was 3-6, if I'm not mistaken,
I
because
think it was
I
three
know
six. I think it
I
was
know
three
we
six.
weren't higher than three last year. But when I think about it, though, honestly, I just feel like last year he got the sympathy vote. KD left him. He had Oladipo, and
But that means nothing for the
it means
basketball
a lot.
purists. That should mean nothing.
It means
Like
a lot to some people.
at that point, yes, he was playing like a man possessed, and that's what we expect from him.
Hmm.
But other than that, and I'm being for real right now, other than that, what else has he really done? His team was still a 6 seed, which I believe was actually the lowest seeding in NBA history that an MVP was awarded.
Hmm.
But the fact of the matter is, he didn't do anything.
I
The only
mean,
the only thing that he taught was everyone needs to play like him, aka Zach from St. Peter's.
wow. I definitely know he's not listening. So my thing is, I think he was like number one or number two in points last year. So I think that's ultimately what got him there. I don't think of course, the triple doubles added up to him
He was
being
the
a
only person
favorite.
shooting.
Hey,
Like, I get it, but
You can't
like,
do that. You
but
can't
like,
do that. You can't do
you
that.
still have to look at the records.
You can't do that. You just can't because it's supposed to be the best player. Really, usually it's the scoring. The scoring champ should have the best chance, but I don't think he won the scoring title last
No,
year, if I'm not mistaken. I
uh,
don't think
I think he lost it by like half a point to James Harden.
right. So he didn't win the scoring title, but he averaged those triple doubles. His team was in the playoffs. Kevin Durant left him. All that added up to an MVP. I mean, I hated it, but
It's absolute poop. Okay, it makes me want to go outside, shake the hand of the mailman, open up his mail bag, and vomit all in there.
I mean, I hope
Because that's what you do
you
and respect the guy.
I hope your mailman has an extra bag.
Probably not.
But I mean, let's look at the rookies, though. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but let's look at the rookies.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm not trying to sound like a hater. Like,
I
everyone went
mean,
Google Gaga over that stuff last year. He's doing the same thing this year, but no one's making a strong argument about this right now.
I think whether you do or you don't support this argument, I think to someone in the world, when they hear this, they're going to say that Professor John Gotti was a hater.
There's only one person that I'm a hater against, and there's no one in the NBA. It's a fist pumping, oorahing,
I mean, just
fake
saying.
sympathy getting big dog.
Oh my God. Hopefully, Jay Rich is listening and writing down, scribbling notes. Probably not, but you know
that
what I
can
mean.
go out and deliver a negative 5-star match and make us cry of laughter.
Absolutely. But I understand what you're saying, though. I mean, with Ben Simmons, I mean, I think the only thing that's keeping him out of the MVP race is that he's only scoring 16 points a game. I think that's it. And you're talking about compared to like LeBron and James Harden. I
But I
mean,
mean,
16 points is just not
even
going to do
if
it.
you account win shares as well too, based on what he was able to contribute to the team, like
Hmm.
he should be an MVP. Like I'm just trying to, I'm literally using the same kind of logic that Q Mart would use. Literally, he should be an MVP candidate
I mean,
based
he's
off of
not
win share
scoring.
versus last year, versus the stats that he's actually getting, which isn't stat padding, Mr. Westbrook. He should
I mean,
be an MVP candidate. I'm not saying that it's true or not, but I'm saying using the same arguments that people made for Russell Westbrook, he should be an MVP candidate. I'm using their backwards logic against him.
right. I mean, when I think about it, though, and I'm just looking at it again, just from the stats alone, um, but you can't put him up there with, let's just say, a Kevin Durant who's scoring, 20, 30 points a game and are pretty much averaging a double double, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You can't throw him up there with them. You can't throw him up there with Giannis, who's averaging a double double. I mean, 28 points, 10 rebounds. So it's like, it's
But
just those slight
but we
things
just
that
got
just
finished
separate
confirming
him,
that Ben Simmons is nearly averaging a triple double for the season.
but the points aren't there.
So, are we still? And I always ask you this question, and I'm not saying it for you to always answer it, but it's always rhetoric. Are we finally gonna say that the NBA MVP is a Offensive Player of the Year award?
Well, no, because and that was my next point. I'm trying to get to the rest of the rookies here because technically Donovan Smith is scoring more points than Ben Simmons at almost 21 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
Three is almost four rebounds, almost four assists, almost two steals. So I mean, he's averaging a pretty good amount for a rookie. So it's hard to say, hey, just because Ben Simmons is scoring 16 points a game and is almost averaging a triple double,
Mm-hmm.
Donovan Mitchell scoring more and averaging just half of those other stats. I mean, the thing with Simmons that's interesting, of course, he's a 6'10 point guard, so he's almost like a human cheat code, so to speak. I mean, we're talking about a 6'10 point guard.
Okay, we have the same deal with Giannis though.
But Ben
Like,
Simmons is
and I'm
something
only being
completely
devil's
different.
advocate. Like, I'm not attacking what you're saying. Everything you're saying is right, but I have to be devil's advocate in this scenario.
But Giannis doesn't take the ball down every play. We're talking about Ben Simmons takes the ball down every single play. He is the primary ball handler. I don't know what they're going to do with Markel Fultz. I really don't. But Ben Simmons, he's not scoring 28 points like Giannis, but he's almost averaging a triple double. I mean, that's just what it is. Um, if he would have scored, I think if you put him with 20 points a game, he's in the MVP race. But you got to be scoring at least 20 points to be in the MVP race, at least. And that's why I think Donovan Mitchell's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. How could you say that you're the only rookie here when number one, you got drafted last year. You got a chance to sit and watch your team play. I think that was the argument earlier that I saw on one of the NBA shows. That Ben Simmons got a chance to watch from the NBA bench, travel with the team, so on and so forth. Where Donovan Mitchell is just coming in from
Mm-hmm.
Louisville and basically just putting up buckets.
Yeah. Oh, and by the
So
way, Ben Simmons has a better true shooting percentage than Russell Westbrook.
I mean, that's neither here nor there.
I know, but I'm just once again devil's advocate. Like,
I
of course,
mean,
Russell
uh,
Westbrook's numbers are all ridiculous compared to Ben Simmons because Ben Simmons is not a 3-point shooter.
but you're giving Russ too much power here. I mean, I'm not trying to talk about him because he's not in the race.
No, I know. I know.
I
It's just
mean,
it's just fun
that's
being
it.
devil. It's actually really fun to do this.
It's just like I mean, I'm not gonna give. I mean, it's just like me saying, "Hey, Roman is the best." That's never gonna come out of my mouth seriously.
I don't know. It sounded like vomit just came out of your mouth when you said that, sir.
Exactly. So, I mean, what do you think? Do you think Ben Simmons has a legit claim to the Rookie of the Year, or I mean, let's look at somebody like Jason Tatum again,
Mm-hmm.
14 points a game, 5 rebounds, almost 2 assists. I mean, clearly not living up to those same numbers as the other two, but does Donovan Mitchell have a claim to the Rookie of the Year just based on his points?
Absolutely. And normally it's based off of who's producing the best for the Rookie of the Year award. It's not necessarily using, based off of where the teams are placed, because normally when you're a rookie, you're on the worst team in the NBA.
True,
But in
true.
this case, the top three candidates are all in the playoffs. Utah potentially
Mm.
being a top five seed.
As well as the 76ers.
Well, they're the three seed.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
technically
no, I
Utah
said
could
they're
be.
they're they're all in the playoffs, but Utah's scenario is they're on the outside looking. Well, they're basically in almost. It's almost a guarantee, but they can go up to be in the five seed. That's
I
all.
mean,
That's the only
really,
point I was trying to make about that. But Donovan
yeah.
Mitchell does have a strong claim, but the only issue with that is when you do look at the stats comparison, Ben Simmons supersedes it.
True, very true. So I mean, I think in the situation, Ben Simmons most likely will win
Mm-hmm.
Rookie of the Year. He's just having a better year.
Yep.
Statistically, not just scoring, but just better
Just
at helping his
overall.
team.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's move on to Coach of the Year. This is not something that we usually talk about a lot. I think coaches. This is a tough one because it's like yes, they do a lot, but really you're only as good as your players.
Correct.
So, obviously Toronto's had a great year. Boston's had a great year. I'll give Brad Stevens a lot of credit. I think he's done a great job, fighting through adversity.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be tempted to put him over Dwayne Casey.
I actually 100% agree with you. If anyone deserves sympathy votes this year, it would be Brad Stevens. Um,
Absolutely.
with the catastrophic injury to Gordon Hayward at the very, very start of the season, and for them to be the number 2 seed heading into the playoffs, I mean, that's astounding. To really levy up and utilize the young legs that he has, you know, the aforementioned Jason Tatum, for example.
True.
Uh, I mean, if anyone deserves it on this top 5 list, he would get my first place vote, hands down, hands down. And I really like Brad Stevens when he was the coach for Butler as well too. But
True.
you know, to make that transition and to put his team in position, put his team in a position to make it to the playoffs each year that he's been a coach right now is, amazing.
Agreed. I think the only other team, of course, coach that I would put up there, obviously, Mike D, of course.
Okay, okay. We're gonna play this game real quick. So you're now an AP, part of the Associated Press, and you have to give a first place vote, a second place vote, and a third place vote out of these 5 coaches: Dwayne Casey, Brad Stevens, Quinn Snyder, Mike D'Antoni, and Nate McMillan. Who gets your first place vote, second place vote, and third place vote?
I mean, clearly, Mike D, of course, is going to be number one. I mean, for coaches, it should just be about wins. That's it. It should just be about wins. 65 wins. I mean, it's very, very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that would mean next would be Dwayne Casey. Even though I feel like Brad Stevens has done a lot to make Boston a contender, he still doesn't have those wins. So there would be Dwayne Casey. Number three, Brad Stevens. I think he's done a heck of a job. And again, the injuries. After that, I believe I would put Quinn Snyder. Anyone, and the doc means anyone that can take the Utah Jazz and make them competitive
Mm-hmm.
deserves a vote in something. And that means last, I would put Indiana because Indiana, I feel like, you know, has a lot of talent. I think this is one of those sympathy things because they lost Paul George and they were still able to contribute and almost get 50 wins. Almost.
Almost.
He's in this particular category. But I mean, come on, Mike D'Antoni not even being number one on this list is ridiculous. I mean, 66, 65 wins, which we could get, 66 tonight, depending on if people play or not. I know Bob Mute is hurt tonight.
Yep.
I'm just saying, just let's just stop
Oh,
it.
score check. Under 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Knicks are up 186.
Hmm.
Hashtag Gotti Reads.
I don't think that's Scotty Reeves. I just think
No,
you got to
no.
look.
The Cleveland Cavaliers deserve to fall into the ashes because of their hypocrisy that's been going on.
But they're not.
Hypocrisy.
They're not actually falling anywhere,
I
man. I
know,
mean,
I know, but let me have my thing, okay? It's the last game of the season for my Knicks. We're gonna win. Give me this, please.
I guess you're not gonna hold back at all, huh?
No.
It's terrible. But yeah. So all right. So let's look at some of these other ones
Oh wait,
here.
okay. So let me give my first place, second place, and third place votes for coaches
Okay. Okay.
because I let you get your time. Let me get my time.
I thought I was the only one in the Associated Press.
No,
That's why.
no, because I feel like that it's gonna be controversial. You might be upset with me.
No, I mean, it's your opinion. I mean, if you like Roman, you like Roman.
I do not like Roman, which is why
If you
Dwayne
go against
Casey would get
if you go
the.
against Mike D'Antoni, you like Roman.
Which is why. See, no, no. See. Now you sound like a Romanite right now. That sounds like a Romanite right there.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Anywho, Dwayne Casey would be number 5
Wow.
because the Raptors are always like this, but they always disappoint. Right now, they really haven't done anything new.
But they're winning.
They're winning. That's great,
This
but
is about this is about the season. This has nothing to do with the future.
they've been they've been
Winning.
highly impressive this year. I give them that, but I feel like it's not coach of the year. I feel like that they are the beneficiary of the way that the East been played so far this year,
Mm.
and that's why he has to be number five.
Wow.
If if Kyrie didn't get hurt and the LeBron maniac driven Cavaliers hasn't been oh so ran the entire season, and they still end up with a top seat like this, absolutely Dwayne Casey would get my first place vote. But
Mm-hmm.
based off how the season progressed, I cannot give him the first place vote because of that reason.
Got it.
Number
Got it.
four. Quinn
Wow.
Snyder will get number four. You know I
Who?
was gonna say Mike D'Antoni. Quinn Snyder will get number four.
No, I don't know. I don't even know who you're gonna say anymore. I think you're just as You're just as unpredictable as Vince McMahon.
Oh gosh. Well, first of all, I'm not gonna make Brock Lesnar win it and a last-minute audible because the entire crowd is chanting out boring and using beach balls during the match. But that's besides the point.
Mm.
But he would get number three. He'll definitely garner some of those Tippy D votes because of Gordon Hayward leaving. But for them to do what they're doing and to still stay a highly defensively oriented team, along with Mitchell leading the way, I mean, amazing. Number three, Nate McMillan. Now, I wanted to give him a first place vote because of the sympathy vote
Wow.
for
A
Paul
first
George.
place vote.
However, however,
Wow. Wow.
they're seeding at the end of the year. Well, and the way I look at Coach of the Year is, taking a team that was just in an abysmal mess and build them into something more credible.
How are they in an abysmal mess?
Because they didn't know what they were really doing. It was kind of doing a fire. It's besides the point. We're looking at this year. We're not looking at the all season. You told me not to look at
Right.
outside of it.
Yes. They
But
look great.
I'm looking at what they did for the year, and I said, yeah, they look great. So
You gave him a
number
sympathy vote.
two, Brad Stevens,
Troll, 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 troll.
and it is actually a. So number three would get 5%. Would be like 5%. Number two is like 20 something percent. Number one gets like the rest of it. So number one would be Mike D'Antoni.
Dang right it would be.
It's hard to argue it. It's hard to really make an argument with it. And if just like a Doc once said, if you are against the Rockets, you're a hater.
That's
And
right.
the only people who will vote against the Rockets would be Warriors fans and Cavaliers fans.
That's right. Now you're getting it. Roman
So
Knights.
number two would be Brad Stevens.
But I mean, again, with I think people are not giving Mike D'Antoni
Enough credit.
the
And
vote.
it's funny. So, I'm gonna use your boy Stephen A. Smith, that pissant in the Walt Disney Company, aka ESPN. He used for his argument to why Mike D'Antoni is not the coach of the year this year was talking about what he did with the Lakers and the Knicks. Are you serious?
That's what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with what he's done this year, and I was gonna
Well,
say it
what?
was more
Nothing
because
he has to do
you
with this.
know
You mean
we
previous year?
have Chris Paul and we have all
Wait,
these these
Doc,
these
Doc,
better
Doc,
players.
I have to stop you because you said what he. It doesn't matter what he did this year. I'm trying to prevent you from shooting yourself in the foot there.
No, I'm saying this year we got Chris Paul. We have
Well, you said it doesn't matter what he did this year.
right. That's what I'm saying. They're thinking that it doesn't matter what he did this year.
Okay. So it was
Yeah,
just wording.
they're
Okay.
just looking at the fact that we got Chris Paul and we got all these players.
Hmm.
Really just Chris Paul, honestly, because I mean we gave up. half the roster.
I mean,
But if we're
honestly,
not looking at
most of your
that,
other
we
players
got
wasn't,
Chris Paul,
and honestly, most of the players that you picked up wasn't necessarily high-profile players. We're talking mid to low-tier caliber players, who
which I'll
worked,
be honest with
who
you,
all
I was
worked within a
very,
system
very,
that
very
allowed them to shine.
concerned.
And you was concerned during the beginning of the year, but you see it now, and you can puff out your chest and pop off.
I will one day, but not until we win the championship.
Not till you would. That's exactly the kind of attitude I expect from you to have heading into the playoffs. Anything else, I will call you out on it, sir.
Hey, I appreciate that. But let's move on here,
Let's
and
move
well,
on.
let's go a little more rapid fire. I think we're diving too deep into these conversations here. Top three for the sixth man of the year: Lou Williams, Eric Gordon, and Fred Van Vliet.
I love Fred Van Fleet. You
He's
heard me talk
good.
about him so much when he was with Wichita State. I
He's really
love
good.
watching him play. I said he was an outstanding floor general. He is starting to show those signs right now with the Raptors. I mean, he's not going to win it, but I mean, he would have my vote. Hands down. I'm
He
sorry.
should. And the only reason I would give it to him over Lou Williams and Eric Gordon is because they both have technically been starters this year,
Hmm.
like technically. And I think Van Fleet, what I saw from him versus Boston a week or so ago, I thought that he definitely developed his game. But I think it's probably going to go to, of course, either Lou Williams or Eric
It's probably
Gordon.
going
Of
to go to
course,
Lou Williams, most likely.
yeah. But I
In
like
fact,
Van Fleet.
that's going to be a sympathy award for him because he didn't make it to the All Star game.
Hmm,
I'm
got it.
calling it. I'm calling it right now.
I guess it's better than making it to the All Star game and not playing, I guess.
Ha! Or better to make it to the All Star game and not make it to the playoffs at all. Who
This is
said
true.
who said
This is true.
that? Oh,
Now let's look at this next one, which is very interesting. I'm surprised that Giannis is on here, but the most improved player,
I thought it
Victor
was.
Oladipo.
Oh yeah, this was approved.
Yeah, most improved player, Victor Oladipo, Clint Capella,
Mhm.
Spencer Dinwiddie, Julius Randle, and Giannis. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like Julius Randle's improvement.
Mhm.
I
Julius
think
Randle was starting to show the caliber player that he was back in college because we was really high on him heading into that draft.
true.
Unfortunately, injuries riddled him, but he's definitely playing it.
Yeah, I saw him
Him
bring the.
and Kuzma looking like a
I
dynamic
saw.
duo.
Yeah, I saw. I mean, they're not gonna retain his services most likely after
No,
this year.
no.
But
Come to New
I
York.
think, yeah, I see what you did there. I think they're giving it to Victor Oladipo because of how poor he played with Russell Westbrook, and that's kind of
Yes,
unfair.
it is
It's
highly
kind of.
unfair.
I wouldn't give it to Clint Capella because I think Clint Capella's been really playing the same way
Mhm.
that like he basically plays what they wanted Dwight Howard to play,
Mhm.
pick and roll, dive, grab rebounds and put back. So I wouldn't say he's a most improved player. Plus, you got two guys that are going to pass to you now instead of just one.
Yep.
So, but if I'm
Yeah.
really
No one
looking
knew
at
who
it,
Spencer Dinwiddie was until he had that big game. So, I'm
true.
glad that he's in the running for it, but no one knew who the frick he was before he had that big game. So, I'm sorry.
And Giannis probably went from what 23 points to 27. I don't really
Yeah.
know. I don't know why that's
And
there.
that was predicted, heading into this season that he might end up being a most improved player candidate.
Interesting.
So
All right.
now let's go to my favorite category.
Of course.
Defensive player of the year. The top three: Rudy Gobert, Joel Embiid, and AD.
I think Gobert always gets it because of his ability to be a rim protector. I think he's definitely a good player, but I mean, if I'm going to give it to anybody, I probably would give it to either Joel Embiid or Anthony Davis. I think Draymond Green is just there because of his history of defense. They didn't know who else to put there.
I'm so glad you
Uh,
said that because I'll be completely agree with you. I don't think he
yeah,
should be in the top five this year.
not this year. And this is such a different list because usually, Kawhi's here, and it's such an easy, even if we didn't even watch Kawhi all year, we would just know, hey, Kawhi's supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think Paul George played a ton of defense this year either. But that's
No,
neither
he
here
was
nor
he
there.
was basically a spot up 3-point shooter.
Exactly. But I think I would give it to Embiid, but I could see Gobert winning this. I'm surprised that there are no guards on this list.
Nope. And you know why? Because guards aren't playing as much defense. I mean, if I had to put a guard on this list for Defensive Player of the Year, you're gonna laugh when I say this. I'll put Chris Paul because Chris Paul is the ankle collector, the ankle taker of this year.
We ankle taker.
And I've used that quote because that's what they call Kyrie Irving
I remember.
when the Cavs won the title.
I remember. I remember. But I mean, yeah, Gobert again, one of the
I
best
wouldn't be
shot
mad.
blockers in the
I
league.
wouldn't be mad if he won it though. But I think Joel Embiid definitely impacts. I mean, and maybe the reason why he won't win it is because it's not just him being a great defensive person. You know, Ben
Right.
Simmons is really good on defense as well too. Like most of their
That's true.
squad is all great defensive. Like they're as far as defensive ratings, they're the top in the NBA. While the
True.
Cavaliers are towards the bottom.
That's true. That's true.
Did I
Uh,
say that out loud? Mm,
you did. So the coup de grace
I see what you did there.
of the awards here, the end, the double foot stomp to the chest here until you get the foot stomp. Um, MVP, which clearly it seems as though it's a two-man race at this point
It shouldn't be a two-man
between.
race, but
I mean, that's the way it's coming across, two-man race. I'll pull up the top four. KD and Giannis down there. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure.
I mean, I mean, I don't know, because I don't know how people are grading the MVP award anymore. It's hard for me to make a an intelligent thought about it because on one hand it should be about just offense, on the other hand it's about win share, on the other hand it's based off record. Like some years it's only about one, some years it's about
Right.
all three. So I really can't make a claim on this right now.
So this is what I'll say. No players on this list is averaging a triple double.
I see what you did there.
All right. So let's start with number four, Damian Lillard. Great season. 27 points. 4.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists.
Yep.
Great year. Solid year. MVP year? No.
No.
Anthony Davis, 28.2 points a game,
Mm-hmm.
11 rebounds. That's a pretty solid season.
Pretty
I would
solid.
put him in the race, but if we go back to wins, I don't know. But then again, with Anthony Davis, he missed a lot of games due to injury. So
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of,
I under-
he still played. He missed what, 12 games, maybe less than 12 games, 10
mm-hmm.
games. So he didn't miss a lot of games. But just thinking about it, hey, I mean, 28 and 11, that's pretty solid. Lebanon James, 27.7 points a game, 9 assists, 8 rebounds. I mean, that's a pretty
Oh,
good number.
final score. We have a couple of finals that just went down. Uh, the Pelicans defeated the Spurs 122-98. The Pistons destroyed the Bulls 119-87. The Celtics beat the Nets 110-97. OKC and Memphis ended up having a shootout, 137-123. Oklahoma won. Philadelphia laid the smack it down all over Giannis's candy rear, or candy capital, 130-95.
Mm.
And Your New York Knicks defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers 110 to 98.
You're really loving that one, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
All right, so let's look back here. So LeBron James, 27 points a game, almost 28, 9 assists, 8 rebounds. He's played 81 games. Tonight will be 82. He just played his last game of the season. James Harden, and again, he's actually missed a few games. He played 72 games,
Yep.
30 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. Team is at 60, 65 wins, hopefully 66.
Yep.
If we're counting everything, wins, points, and other stats, percentages, if we're doing everything, let's look at the numbers. James Harden, 30 points, eight assists, 5 rebounds, 36% from the three, 85% free throw shooter, almost 86. He's shooting 45% from the field.
Yep.
LeBron, 28 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, 73% free throw shooter. He's actually shooting a pretty good number here, 37% from the 3 point line, 54% from the field.
Yes.
So,
60% effective field goal percentage, which is the combination of the threes and twos.
and that's okay.
James
Um,
Harden's at 53.1%.
Now, Anthony Davis, if we're including him in here, 28 points, again, 2 assists, almost 3 blocks, 83% from the free throw line, 34% from the 3 point line,
Mm-hmm.
and shooting 54% from field with 74 games. So,
Yes.
of course, LeBron is the only one that has played a full season, and I don't know if that gives him an advantage, disadvantage, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when I look at it, if it comes down to the combination of everything, James Harden scores more. That's something that they never really touch on. They just talk about LeBron throwing, you know, point 0.7, actually not point 0.7, it would be point 0.5 more assists and 3 more rebounds.
Yep.
But that's the difference between a guard and a forward.
Correct.
But when you do the combination of everything, we're talking about wins. And if we're going to get down to the nitty gritty, you would have to throw in the free throw percentage, as well as you would have to put in that they really kind of almost equal from the 3 point line, 3 point percentage. And I don't know if that's good for LeBron because I'm almost positive
Positive.
that James Harden is taking more threes than
Yes.
LeBron.
He takes about 5 more threes a
Uh,
game.
yes, I'm almost positive. So I mean, just looking at it, I mean,
And they're only off by two
it.
1,000th of a point as far as percentages.
I'm just saying. So if we're looking at it, I think it kind of balances out to if it comes down to it, it's mostly going to come down to the wins
Mm-hmm.
for the team,
Are
most
we
valuable
talking
player.
15, potentially 16 games in between their win columns?
And I think when you talk about the most valuable player, you're talking about the most valuable player to the team. And I think that's the conversation that they were talking about earlier. Is this most valuable player to the team, most valuable player to the league? What is the actual criteria? But most of the time, this comes down to a popularity contest.
Absolutely. Which is why my gut is telling me they're going to try to slide LeBron to become the MVP. I don't want him to be the MVP, but that's what my gut is telling me is going to end up happening.
But do you
Just
know what
like
that sounds like? Do you know what that sounds like?
it sounds like a couple of haters are trying to give me the reads, and I'm trying to block them out.
It sounds like the exact same thing that we're going to get at the Great Ball of Fire, the greatest Royal Rumble ever,
No, 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 no. There's
with
no
Roman
gut feeling with
Reigns.
that one. That's going to happen.
I mean, that I feel like that's just the plan. I think Vince
I mean,
McMahon has
if we
his
could
money
talk
on this
about
one.
if we could talk about that real quick, and I'm just gonna get this one point out the way. Here's why
Sure,
this is gonna happen. He's gonna get better recepted during
of
that
course.
match there than he did at Mania, and that's the only thing I gotta
Of
say about that. That's the only
I
reason
mean,
why they're gonna pull the trigger then.
but that's the whole plan. I mean, that's everything. That's really what it is. That's what they're hoping for.
Well, they
I just
couldn't
don't know.
they couldn't mute the mic quiet enough to drown out those boos.
I mean, it was, as they stated, awful.
It was boring. But back to the MVP. My gut
I
is telling
mean,
me they're gonna give it to LeBron because I mean it's just stupid. But James Harden is going to be the MVP this year.
he should
In
be.
fact, he was the MVP based off the players' votes last year, which means he should be a two-time MVP,
I agree.
in my opinion. So that's who I have going for the MVP, and I'm sticking to my guns with it. But knowing how the AP likes to screw the right people over, they might try to give it to LeBron James. But my gut is telling me
They're gonna
James Harden will
screw.
win it.
I understand. I understand completely. So that is the NBA awards. That's it.
Yeah.
That
Ladies and
that
gentlemen, we have now hit endgame. About time, actually.
yeah.
Um, we're gonna go into our final thoughts. We're gonna start off with the doc. Doc, what is your final thought this week?
So I'm gonna start. Got three final thoughts. We're gonna start with Doc Rivers actually may be leaving. I think he's been having some family issues on the side, as well as a part of him, according to this report, didn't want to be here coaching the Clippers last season. um, but that's neither here nor there. Of course, there could be some media baiting there, here and there, but I think it's time for Doc to move on, and get a new opportunity. I would love to see where he goes if he stays in coaching.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe there's a better opportunity for him. Maybe, hey, maybe the Knicks pick him up.
See, I don't know. I don't know how I need to feel about that. I mean, kind of want someone else, but I mean, it's not like it's a bad choice. But I see what you're doing now.
Sure, absolutely. But best of luck to Doc. Hopefully he picks up, um, and leaves because I think it's time. So a couple of weeks ago, and I missed this completely. I actually watched it on ESPN, but just didn't use it as a final thought. Wish I would have remembered. But
Mm-hmm.
there was a goalie that actually played for the Chicago Blackhawks,
Okay.
and he actually had never played a professional game. He was in college. He was an amateur, and then he went like most of us and had a normal career as an
Mm-hmm.
accountant. The Blackhawks had an injury to their goalie and called Scott Foster in as an emergency goalie. He's a 36-year-old accountant who hadn't played in a competitive hockey game in more than 10 years. And
Yes.
he actually, not only did they win the game, they won 6-2, but he really, really played really, really good. I mean, obviously he gave up two goals, but I mean, to not play in 10 years and give up two goals is actually MVP status. Woo. Um, but my last one, similar story. Andre Ingram. I know a lot of guys probably watched yesterday or probably heard,
Do the
earlier
grapevine.
today, yeah, through the grapevine. He played 10 years and 384 games, a combination of the minors and overseas, and actually made his NBA debut last night against my Rockets. The 32-year-old, who is 6'3", actually scored 19 points, shot 6 for 8 from the field, and 4 of 5 from threes. He actually looked really, really good out there. One of those touchy games and touchy performances that make you just feel like dreams, I guess, could come true.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm happy to say that, I mean, he had opportunity to play. It kind of gives the Lakers, I guess, something to look forward to. Um, but then again, I don't know what this gives the Lakers.
I see what you did there.
But those are the final thoughts for me, sir.
No, definitely appreciate that. I do have a question though about your final thought, and I wanted to get your opinion real quick. So based on this gentleman's performance yesterday, was it as impressive as it seems because it's his first game and whatnot, or is it more because of he is benefiting from the way that the game is being played right now?
I think it I think it depends on if you're looking at it from a Romanite perspective or not. So you'd have to let me know if you're looking at it from a Romanite perspective or a non-Romanite perspective.
I see what you did there.
Which perspective would you be looking at it?
I mean, I'm just looking at it based off of just a pure basketball purist.
I, I mean, is it Romanite or non-Romanite though?
It's definitely not a Romanite. Totally
All
not.
right, non-Romanite. That's perfect. So if it's a non-Romanite look, that would mean no. I think he just had a pretty decent game. I don't think it had anything to do with the way they play. I think against a pretty solid team in my Rockets, they're not the best defensive team, but
Mm-hmm.
they've definitely gotten better. Um, he was open and he hit his shots. Kind of similar to the game we gave up. Not we didn't give it up, but we played Portland a few weeks ago, and you know we were sitting there, and it wasn't Damian Lillard or it wasn't any people that you expected. It
Mm-hmm.
was the other players that were stepping up and hitting the big shots. So I think he just got an opportunity. Like I think Al Farouk Aminu from the Trailblazers was killing us, because we were giving him the shot. So I imagine that was probably our goal.
Yes.
So to answer the question, I can't really tell you if it's the way the game is being played or his actual skill. But what I can say is that he made the most of his opportunity. And if he never plays a game again, him
Again.
again, him and the doc means and
And.
Scott Foster of the Blackhawks,
Mm-hmm.
even if that's their last game, even if they only get one chance, that still leaves one time,
One time.
one time. And yes, that's Little Giants. Mike dropped.
I see what you did there. All right, let me get to my. I only have one final thought, because I feel like not really a whole lot happened this week as
You
far
see,
as
I had to
talking about it.
dig. You see, I had to
I
dig.
mean, I could talk about the E League, but I mean, it's turning into regular reality TV, and at that point, I kind of tune out of it. So you probably won't hear much as far as me talking about that. But E League is coming back, and they're doing it more of a reality TV show style, and they brought a very controversial figure to be part of the competition. His handler name is Low Tier God. So I mean, that's really just to get the ratings, and people have been kind of going back and forth all over it, all over social media the past week. But that's one thing. But the other thing is, I want to give a shout out to St. Peter University alum and regular season champion of the A2 division out in Greece, Keedron Clark, aka Kiki. His team, the Peristeri GS Athens Basketball Club, won the regular season title this past week, despite a loss in their last game to Holagros, BC, 78-82. They won, I believe, 23 straight games before that loss. Necessarily dominated throughout the season. To highlight Keegan real quickly, he played 30 minutes a game, shooting 45% from the field, 48 from three, 87% from the free throws. I mean, things that we already knew that he was able to do back when he was playing in college. 2.4 rebounds, but he actually has legit big men to handle cleaning up the glass for him rather than having the stat pad like certain other people. Anywho, uh, 3.8 assists, about a steal a game, no blocks, and he really handles the ball very well. Under 1.5 turnovers per game, which is amazing for a point guard.
It
And he
is.
averaged 18.3 points a game. So big shout outs to Kiki out there. Congratulations on the regular season title. With 4 games to go, mind you, good luck in the playoffs. And everyone here at Debate Amongst Friends, we're behind you.
Boom.
Tonight's track, ladies and gentlemen, is from A1. You heard us play his tracks before. You might get tired of him, but we don't care because his stuff is fire. The name of the track tonight is called Escaping Youth from his Black Soul album, released in 2014. We put the links out there on the YouTube site, so be sure to show him some love. Also, Croup Dog for doing our intro track. As we're about to hit episode 100, make sure you follow them. Check out some of the music that they have as well too. Always check out the Beta Bunks Friends offline, away from YouTube, on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and any and all podcast application on your Android or iOS devices. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it a night. We've been talking our heads off, and maybe you're bored of us, maybe you're not. But if you're just listening to us right now, we appreciate you just listening to us for the last final seconds. I am your host, the Professor John Gotti.
And this is Dr. Wednesday Night.
And good night. Mwah, and good bye. Bang.
Taste the ocean.
They know A1 from the microphone, I get loose. But they ain't know that Bucci said I had a sunroof. Not on my coupe, yo, I'm talking George Jefferson. My shit is thin and diarrhea of my hairline. My barber give me mad effervescent. Imaginary lines like the youngest child of mine. And I am from the do-rag era, rocking 360 waves. Chicks used to say I look like Nas with a fade. Back in my younger days, I used to hit canary cuts, catch a room, and sit under the blades. Cause I was in the Hunger Games. Fresh cuts to get you laid, clean like Listerine. I had them bras chasing sausage hard, Jimmy Dean. The kids call me sir, they don't even know I rap. Cause I'm in fresh kicks and white tee and a magic cap. It's a midlife crisis that I still get a cut. Is it my hair or my youth that I can't give up? Yeah. Early in the morning, And then when I see my face, I shampoo my beard and notice a couple grays. Is the fast life catching me, or am I getting old? Sometimes I feel like my flesh is now speaking to my soul. I understand my purpose, and as long as the earth twists, I'm here to tell the truth till I'm underneath the surface on whatever medium. The antithesis of skinny jeans, search just medium. A1 about as real as they come. Can't even shop, they blog or hog, they on that hype shit. The masses touch the streets, don't trust it, that's some life shit. I'm on the bigger things.com, it's stressing me. The industry is full of lames on coke and ecstasy. Learn my lessons, never front, vaporize, I'm done with blunts. Even the sneaker game is weak, I ain't cop nothing in months. It's a midlife crisis that I still get a cut. Is it my hair or my youth that I can't give up?
We used to